Welcome to the Mr. Universe Meets podcast. In association with the Mansformation Programme, my Mansformation Programme is growing every year and helping more and more busy men to take control of their fitness, their physique and their energy levels so they can show up each day as the best version of themselves. On this podcast, we're going to speak to peak performers who have reached the very top of their field. We're going to look at their mindset, habits and routines that have made them elite, and I want you to take advantage of the lessons they teach so you can go and achieve your own goals faster. I would love it if you could like, share and subscribe and enjoy the podcast.
So, obviously we've had Dorian, we've had Eddie, Ellwood, Ryan Terry, Josh Malley, Dan Welburn, Drew Walker, John Hodgson, Uris. You know, we've had loads of great bodybuilders on this podcast. But now Mr. Universe meets the current reigning Mr. Universe, the current champ, Eddie Sykes. So welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. We've obviously known each other a lot of years. Goes way back to the Atlanta days. That's right.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. So tell us, mate. Like, I mean, I remember you, like, say, from Atlanta, from the Atlanta gym. I used to work down there, you know, before I started EBOR, and you were, you know, a young lad coming into the gym and training with your dad and stuff like this. So tell us a little bit, mate, about your journey and how, you know, how it started from. Did it start from there? Did it start before there? Where did it start?
Yes, I think there was Atlanta and Olympia, like sister gyms in York, which were the big bodybuilding gyms at the time. My dad was never a bodybuilder, as you know, but he was into his fitness, and he was, I think he was quite naive to the bodybuilding world. But I think when I was about 14, I was potentially, maybe he thought I was going off the rails for one reason or another. So he took me to Olympia Gym, which went many years ago, before Atlanta went. And I ended up doing my work experience there when I was 14 years old. And that's where the journey started for me. I was there training, working there. And I think the real impetus for me was a lot of the bodybuilders in there were just great. I mean, we won't mention names, but some of them weren't the nicest people in the world. But in their space, they were all great. And they took me under the wings, trained me, put me through sets, taught me about training. And that's where my journey started. It was never meant to get as serious as it got. And then when Olympia closed down, you set up EBOR. You were the main big bodybuilder at the time, so that was where my journey. I came and trained at EBOR. Watched you do what you were doing, and it kind of went from there.
Funny, isn't it? There's that sort of thing at Atlanta for me. That's very similar. I went on to Atlanta for work experience and started there, and there was a lot of, you know, great bodybuilders that again showed me the ropes and give me the pointers and stuff like that. Don't really see that now, do you? Not in York anyway. There probably is in certain towns. I don't really see any like real hardcore bodybuilding gyms that have that community. Do you know what I mean? I think it's probably diluted so much now with the big chain gyms. I don't know. It was a real community sort of feel, wasn't it, at places like Olympia and Atlanta, and probably even at EBOR at the start. But even that's modified and changed as time's gone on.
It's a community vibe that's missing, and I think with obviously I had my own gym for 10 years, which was great, and I tried to instill what Atlanta, EBOR, Olympia had, but I think there's no money in bodybuilding gyms. No. So in York's not a big bodybuilding, powerlifting kind of area. It's very student populated. So in terms of business sense, you've kind of got to cater for the masses to make a business successful. Atlanta lasted so long because it was that family community feel, and people just loved going in there. You didn't go in there just to train. You went in there to chat to people, which I guess why my dad stayed there for so long. He had his old friends and they trained there. And my dad trained there until he was 80 and he got Parkinson's and couldn't drive anymore. He trained there 3 times a week, and it was just that kind of vibe that, yes, it can't be replicated anywhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, like you say, there's a few of the guys that took you under the wing a little bit, but, you know, who were your early influences? Like, who inspired you to want to not just become a bodybuilder, but want to compete? And I often found that I got more inspiration from the guys in the gym. There's a guy, you remember John Hutton? I don't know if you remember John.
Yeah.
So when I walked in for my work experience at Atlanta, John was the big guy in the gym, right? And he was jacked. He looked fucking great. Every lassie in that gym absolutely loved him. Do you know what I mean? He was just fantastic. I was like, I want to be like that, right? I want to be like this. And that inspired me more than seeing the pictures of Arnie and Ronnie probably at the time, Ronnie Coleman at the time on the front of Flex magazine. That to me was almost unattainable. So I found more inspiration from the guys in the gym, and like you said, for me, it was someone like John Hutton that I was looking up to, because it was almost a realistic, even though it felt very unrealistic as a skinny 15-year-old, it was a bit more realistic than thinking, oh, I'll be Ronnie Coleman, right?
Yeah. So obviously my dad was the start of the journey. He got me into the training side of it. But in terms of bodybuilding, that's why it's pretty surreal being sat here as Mr. Universe, being interviewed by you, former Mr. Universe, because it was probably you that got me into going in Ebor, the vibe in Ebor when you opened up. We all came and watched you. We got buses to come watch you compete. We competed all over, and watching you on stage with you doing what you do, Stu, was probably my main inspiration to go down that bodybuilding path. And then going back into Ebor.
Well, that's, I remember that we took I think I paid for a coach, didn't I?
Yeah,
we went to Pudsey I think it was the North East or something like that. But that's what I mean. That's how it's kind of changed. It was. I think for me, it was the trip. I got on a coach to Southport. You must have paid for a coach to Southport. There was a coach to Southport as well, did we? Yeah.
And that was you battled out with.
There was so much interest in it then. There was so much interest in bodybuilding. It does feel like it's diluted a little bit.
I think some people get into it because it looks popular on Instagram. Bodybuilding, wow, it's an head fuck. It's so much. So to see a picture on Instagram where people will look at me and you with Mr. Universe, we look fucking mint, we look the do. They don't understand what you go through and put yourself through, and I'm sure we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
But there was back in Ebor after you'd competed once, Joe Mainprize, just obviously loyal to you guys when you were there. He just he told me I had the eyes of Jay Cutler, and so I then went off and researched Jay Cutler, looked into Jay Cutler, got into watching Jay Cutler train and doing what he was doing. So I think he was. I mean, I've met Jay Cutler twice, which was pretty phenomenal. But I guess he was, in terms of the top end bodybuilders, he was the one that I grew up looking at. So local level, definitely you, and then top level, probably Jay Cutler. I was at the university this year. I was for weeks before I was practicing the Cutler stomp, but when I got on stage, mate, I didn't want to mess it up, so I didn't bother do it. We talk about posing, but I thought if I do it, it's going to look mint. If I don't do it, then I look stupid.
Yeah, but like you say there, mate, the reality of actually competing, it's a different sort of what people see, the finished physique, they're doing the cool photo shoot in a gym or on the beach or whatever it is like that. Like, people tend to miss out that middle bit, the fucking hard work, the real graft. And maybe it's, I say you do see some, certainly like local shows, you see some dodgy physiques, don't you? Yeah. And it's not to knock people, right? They want to give it a go. Do you know what I mean? Fair play to them. But, some people shouldn't be on a bodybuilding stage. I think it should be the people that have, even at local level, at regional level, it should be the elite of that area.
There's a lot of talk now. It's only talk, and I don't think it'll ever happen, but of people being regulated before they get on stage. So are you worthy of?
I think that's do you know what? It pisses me off, if I'm honest, sometimes to see people get up there that haven't done the work, because to the people that don't know, right? They go, oh, this guy, oh, he's a bodybuilder. Same as Eddie. Eddie's a bodybuilder as well. It's like, mate, this is night and day. Yeah, this is night and day. We're not even we shouldn't be in the same conversation. But people do get up there, and I think you've seen people do it as like for pranks and stuff like this. And he's a bit of a piss take, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But those that, I think that's a great idea. I'd love to see that happen. Not just for the guys that have worked really hard, but for the guys that are probably a little bit delusional about where they're actually at.
Yeah. Do you think some people actually look at themselves? When we're talking about that number of people, do you think they actually look at themselves in the mirror and think they're going to be competitive on stage, or do you think they know they're not?
I don't know. I mean, if you understood what went through the mind, you know what I mean? Like, because some of them, like, you don't actually like being in the gym sometimes, let alone to be good enough to be on stage. And I think, like you say, it annoys me, if I'm honest, because the hard work that I put into it, the graft, like you said, the sacrifices that you make, all that stuff, and then you can be stood next to a guy who's literally just slapped a bit of talent and come and stood next to you. Local level, right?
Yeah, local
level. I know obviously
level,
you've progressed on now, do you know what I mean, to different things. But yeah, certainly that initial level, I think sometimes...
And it's frustrating because you want to compete, to become a better bodybuilder, you want to, and you have to compete against better bodybuilders to know what the standard is.
But you're right, there should be a minimum standard.
Yeah.
There should be a minimum standard.
They are talking about it in some federations.
I like it. I like that a lot, to be honest. So, but I suppose, like, how did you go then from being the guy in the gym and enjoying your training and like you say, looking up to, you know, some of the guys around you and some of the big bodybuilders on Flex magazine and stuff like that? How did you go from that to going, actually, I'm going to take the leap now and go and
that's a good question.
go and compete.
So I had after training at York's for however long, obviously I opened my own gym out just outside of York, and it provided me with the perfect environment. Well, people think it provides you with the perfect environment because you've got your own gym, you're training clients in there. People think you've got this great platform, but sometimes
you think you spend all day training.
Yeah, but when you're in the gym, right? If I had clients, 3-4 clients in the morning, and I trained 3-4 clients at night, when I got to my time to train, I was like, I'm just not motivated. It's different to walking in the gym, bang, training, walking out of the gym. When you're there all day, it can play in your mind a little bit. So it wasn't the perfect environment, but there was a couple of things that pushed me into competing, definitely.
Well, one of the things that really helped me when I was competing, because I had my own gym since being 23-year-old, so it's like when you're stuck in there and somebody wants something, or there's stuff to do, or you see someone that's pissing you off that needs taking your attention away. So I was quite lucky that obviously I was part of like food tech, and we, you know, watched by Ken Roscoe, you know, Danny Welburn, Dave Titterton, you know, all these other guys, Drew Walkers, all this sort of stuff. I could just get in a car and just go and train at a gym. And I spent a lot of time travelling, and they came to me and I came to them, and we'd travel around and we'd go down to Worksop, go over to Hull, wherever it was, and do workouts. Because sometimes I think as a gym owner, you've got to get out of your own gym environment. As good as like your gym was that you had, as good as Ebor is, sometimes you do need a change of environment. You know, certainly when you're at that competitive level.
But then people question it. Why are you training at a gym? What's with your gym? Is your gym shit? But I think you've got to, and there was times when I just... Me loyal clients understood when I was close, and even now I've had clients from when I first competed in 2017, and I'm still training them now, whether it's online or one-to-one. My loyal clients understand when I get close to a show, as selfish as bodybuilding is, it's about me. If I'm training a client and you know what it's like, mate, you can't even stand up. Your brain's foggy and someone says booty, you're going to start crying. Then there's no point. You're not with it. So I think... within reason. I think the more you compete, the easier it gets, or the more your body's regulated or mentally regulated to it. But when it gets close to show, the majority of my clients know that they'll be on their own for a couple of weeks, and they look forward to coming back. Yeah,
that's part and parcel of being trained by an elite level bodybuilder. Yeah, you know, you've got to accept that's because it is a selfish sport, isn't it, mate? Do you know what I mean? And it is. There's lots of sacrifices that you do have to make. As a bodybuilder, and if you're going to get to the top, you've got to be prepared to give up what normal people take for granted and stuff like that. So I mean, you know, is it what you thought it was going to be before you got into it, or certainly that leap from training in the gym to actually going and competing? Like, is it what you thought it would be? Is it as, you know, is it harder than you thought it'd be? Is it easier than you thought?
You've got that question where, are you a bodybuilder if you've competed, or are you a bodybuilder if you're just in a gym? And it's a very worldwide debated question. For me, a bodybuilder, you've got a competitive bodybuilder. Average Joe in the gym who goes to the gym, but he's building a body, is he a bodybuilder? Well, there's bodybuilder, like you said, that question where it's the right to be on stage. But for me, I trained and I love training, and I thought I had an idea with diet, and, you know, I didn't. But it was in 2016 that it all changed for me. It was 3 days after Christmas, for the 29th of December. So I'd had Christmas off, back in the gym. I was training the client, and my phone was ringing. And when I'm with a client, my phone's, you know, if someone needs me, then they know I'm busy, sort of thing. So my phone rang and I ignored it. And then it rang again. So I looked at my phone to see who it was. It was a number I didn't know. So I put my phone back in the pocket. Then it rang again. I just said to my client, I said, "Can I just pick this up? Sorry, someone obviously wants me." And I picked it up, and it was Kerry, my children's mum. And at the time, we had a lovely family home in Huntington. And she just screamed down the phone, "Eddie, the house is on fire." And it's something I block away, mate. It is something you just don't talk about, or I don't talk about. And I was like, "You what?" So she'd run a number because she'd run out of the house, got the kids out of the house. And she was on one of my neighbour's phones, so that's why obviously she knew my number. And she was basically ringing me saying, look, so I got in the car, left the gym, got home. By the time I got home, the most annoying thing was people were ringing me, telling me, your house is on fire, it's on Facebook. Pulled up, the whole street was shut off. I'm not going into, it was, but basically, so people want to know what it was. One of the power showers, this is 14 minutes past 6 in the evening, one of the power showers in the loft had just fused. So it set on fire. My little boy Isaac, bless him, was 3 months old. Kerry had heard the bit through the baby monitor rustling, so she thought the cat had got upstairs, was in Isaac's room, so she went to the bottom of the stairs and the bloody loft hatch was in Isaac's bedroom and could see the smoke coming through, so she just grabbed the kids and got out. But by the time I got back, the whole road was closed off, house was on fire. It was started in the attic, so the fire brigade, 27 firefighters it took. They had to wait for a specialist crane to come, or maybe Google or something rings a bell, and they came because they had to take the roof off the house to fight the fire from the top. So the moment the firefighters are just at the bottom of the stairs stopping the fire from coming down. So what wasn't burnt and destroyed was waterlogged and flooded. So we stood outside the house, mate, for several hours. Massive commotion in the street, all over social media, all over the news, evening press there, people videoing it. I think one of my neighbours, everyone got evacuated, had a panic attack, bless him, one of the young lads. It was pretty frightful, but obviously one of the reasons why I'm saying this was things happen in your life that you think you want to become something. If we'd all been asleep, the head fireman and the police and they were pretty adamant we'd have been dead because the smoke would have come down before it went back up. So does everything happen for a reason? But off the back of that and going in and out of the house, we had nowhere to live.
You lost everything then?
We lost like everything. Yeah, but there was monetary value, but for me, each one of my children had a box in the loft, first tooth, first hair, footprints and everything. We lost all that, everything. And you couldn't even salvage it. And for the days afterwards, you're at the house and the companies are coming in and they're just chucking stuff in garden, like what can you save? And it was pretty harrowing, mate. We got interviewed asking us if we burnt our own house down for insurance. But because my insurance at the time was Meerkat house insurance, just get some house insurance. What I've learned is I have a broken house, sorts all my insurance out for me. Yeah. We got nowhere. We had nowhere to live. They were going to put two of us in a hotel in Wetherby, two of us in a hotel in Leeds, and it was just like, so we were up shit creek without a paddle. So that was a hard time, but off the back of that and going in and out of the house with the smoke and being run down, I ended up, one way or another, I ended up with sepsis. And in January, I spent 3 weeks in hospital with sepsis in my left arm. And cutting a long story short, because this isn't about being negative, this is a positive. After the second surgery, trying to get the sepsis out, I had an abscess in my shoulder that then tracked down the arm. So I didn't even know abscesses track if they're not dealt with. I went to the doctors. The doctors told me I had a skin infection, give me some antibiotics, nothing to worry about. And then this abscess grew. It was like another head on my shoulder. And then I ended up getting very ill, fever, passing out, end up in hospital. After the second surgery to try and get the abscess out, I lay there in the hospital bed with my mum and dad there. And the surgeon said, if we can't get this out, because the abscess is retracted and the blood was not very good, we'll be taking your arm off. Honest to God. There's a picture of me somewhere circulated out. I'm in the hospital bed and I'm just there. And I think I stick ones up on my brother or something because this was like massive news. But luckily, they got the sepsis out. They packed me open, so you could see the bone in my shoulder where the abscess had come out. They actually took my rear delt out, which causes me a lot of problem now with posing and mobility. But they packed me open and they got it out, and obviously I kept my arm, but I had months of going back because the muscle has to grow from the inside. If they don't pack it with a gauze and the skin heals over, the muscle won't grow back. So when I kept my arm, and I'd always trained for so long, that was my impetus to go, do you know what? I've trained for this long, I'm going to do something with it. And that's when I decided to say, let's have a go at bodybuilding, properly competitive.
So how long ago was that with the abscess after the house fire?
House fire was 29th of December, 14 minutes past 6, 2016. Isaac was born in October, so he was only 2-3 months old. And then sepsis started. I didn't know when I started having it, but the surgery was in January 2017. Right. Yeah. And then I competed UK first timers November 2017, which used to be the Batley show you did.
Yeah.
And then I won my first British title in 2018, the year after, as a first time in British bodybuilding champion.
So you won the first time as at the NABA Britain?
Yeah, I won first time as at NABA UK, qualified for NABA Britain, and won Mr. Britain as a first time competitor, yeah.
I suppose like going through that, even just the thing with the family, mate, and the house burning down and stuff like that, like possessions, you can replace, the TV and the sofa and that, like, can't you? Do you know what I mean? So, but I suppose that moment of realisation that if that had been 4 hours later when you'd all been asleep, that was fucking game over. It must, like you say, it must allow you to kind of go, fucking hell, I'm here once. I've got to actually follow what I want to do.
It's something that I do shut out, because I feel I'm quite a positive person, but obviously there's things that for everyone that make you step up, reach out. But mate, we got put in with the insurance, give us a house to live in, and we got this lovely house in Haxby, the other side of York, a lovely house, mate. But mate, it was just the first day we moved in, one of my daughters fell down the stairs and split her head open. It had this really posh heating system that one night, this was going through the summer, it was 47 degrees Celsius in the house. We had to evacuate. It had electric gates. The electric gates kept breaking, so I couldn't get out at times. There was no override. So it was just one thing after another. And it was our house got rebuilt from more or less from scratch. And it was September 2017, so just before I competed first time, that we managed to move back into the house. But it never, we had it rebuilt. We had, we could have it
months.
No, sorry. So from December to September.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So 10 months.
Yeah.
We could kind of pick what we wanted, but it was never going to be the same. And insurance was a nightmare, mate, because you could have like for like, but then say you bought your settee for $4,000 and you had a receipt for it. We didn't have receipts for anything because everything was in the loft and everything got burnt or wet. But if you could prove what you had, then they'll go, well, you've had this settee for a year, you've sat on it 500 times, we're only going to give you this amount of money for it. So it was a constant battle. But yeah, we moved back in, but then the house, it was probably, it affected family life, it affected everything, mate. You go through a house fire like that, knowing a few hours later, they literally said if the smoke had come through, especially in Isaac's room, he might have. Yeah, I don't know what
thinking about that. Absolutely, mate. Nah. Absolutely. Well, it's not just things like that. Obviously, the house fire, the septic, stuff like that. You've been through other serious injuries, haven't you, mate, in your career? And, like you say, I genuinely wonder sometimes how you've even got to the point of the pinnacle of the sport of amateur bodybuilding in the Mr. Universe, because you've been through so much. And like you say, would people after having abscesses cut out the shoulder, or having a near death essentially experience, a near miss with the house fire, would they go on and do what you've decided to do? But talk about the big injury with the leg press.
Yeah, so you can call me the comeback king. The comeback's always great.
There's several comebacks,
mate. Yeah. So in COVID in 2020, just like you'd gone through, we just had the gym shut down. We just got told we couldn't see friends and family, and we have these circles. So my brother was in my circle that we'd made. So I had my own gym. I was very lucky that I could go and use that gym and train. So I was training through COVID with the idea with my next competition, because when the shows came back, I was going to compete again. So you never really knew at that point. But first few months of COVID, I was on a leg press. I had a 45-degree leg press, probably the worst ones for injuries, in my gym. And me and my brother were in there. And at the time, I was training under somebody's advice, and I was old school muscle building reps, 6 to 10 sort of reps, build muscle. I'd done some working sets, and I was getting like 15, 20 reps. I had strong legs at the time. So yeah, I was in my gym, and I was trying to hit a number of reps with a certain amount of weight, but the weight ended up going up to 650 kilos. And everyone knows how a 45-degree leg press works. But it wasn't, people say it's too much weight. At the time, I was training and being advised wrong, where you were in muscle building rep ranges, 6 to 9 reps. If I'm getting 15 reps, I need to go heavier. Old school kind of training. So 650 kilos on leg press, just me and my brother in there, headphones on. On the 9th rep, as I came down into a nice control negative, hitting depth, as I came down, for some freak accident, it was put down to my right knee gave way and popped out to the side. So as my knee's given way, the weight on the right hand side has come down and basically crushed me, broke my pelvis in 3 places, ripped off adductor, pectineus, and pyramidalis. Pectineus and pyramidalis, just little muscles, but as they ripped off so fast with the 650 kilos coming down, they avulsed the pelvis bone, so they brought the pelvis as they snapped off. So I remember, and the worst thing,
I'm literally screaming here, mate.
I think it's videoed. It's on. I once up to 2023. I did a YouTube for my competing, so there is a video on YouTube. If you search my name and have a look at it, feel free. Which is minging, but I've always videoed for form, not to because you won't put in a gym.
Oh shit, you videoed it.
Videoed it, mate.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So you're not gonna. I never videoed for saying, look at me, I'm leg press 650 kilos because it's COVID, not going to be training. So I always videoed for form to make sure I was hitting depth and training right. So as it comes down,
I'll be honest, mate, I ain't watching that. There's that video in there of the people
it's locking the legs out, snapping.
I've never watched that. I knew it was coming, but I always made sure I turned it off because I'd never go back on a leg press if I did.
There's a good video where I'm explaining it because it's part of my journey. But as the weight came down, I remember screaming to my brother, "I've broke my leg." But then we're both trying to push the weight back up. But I probably did more damage in pushing the weight back up because it would have probably just hit the stoppers. So as I'm pushing the weight back, it's my brother's face, and they had where my gym was at the other side of the estate. There was a lock-up for tyres. They heard me screaming through there. They just thought I was just training. But then so my leg flopped off. You can see on the video my right leg just flopped off to the side. There's nothing. The adductor holds and the pelvis holds the leg in. So leg flopped off. It's start of COVID. No one knows what's going on. I rang Phil Baines. I rang our chiropractor saying, what do I do? And he didn't know. He sent me pictures out, but he said, you need to get to hospital. So I don't know, what do you do? Phil Baines, chiropractor, ring him, middle of COVID. So my brother took me to hospital because it's just mad because it was COVID. He didn't know what was going on. Put me in the back of his car, lay me down, I'm screaming. Honestly, my leg was just hanging off. It was because nothing attaching it. Took me into hospital. I remember getting to hospital and the people at A&E screaming at him, brother, get out, you haven't got a mask on. And I think they could see, so my brother had to just dump me on a chair, then get out. And then they left me there because there was more important things that was going on. And that was the start of my broken pelvis story.
Well, I mean, that, mate, would have ended many careers.
Yeah, well, the worst thing was, again, this is hard. I don't mind this being in here, but York Hospital did me an X-ray and MRI scan, and they told me I hadn't done any damage because of the start of COVID. And I've got to be careful what I say because I had a bad phone call from somebody who worked there telling me to wind my neck in. But that's all I'll say because I was looking into why they could tell me. Because basically, I remember lying on the bed and them saying there's telling me there's no damage, and my leg wasn't even attached. Like seriously, it was just flopping off. And they asked me to get off the bed, and saying it back is almost like surreal because it's like it didn't happen, but it did. So they wouldn't help me off the bed. Someone was holding some crutches for me so I could go. I think it was through the night. My brother had come back for me, and they wouldn't help me. So I managed to get my right leg off the bed. Because there's nothing holding my leg on, my right leg's flopped on the floor and I'm still on the bed. So I'm screaming in pain. I had to just roll off the bed. And it was like, and I remember the guy saying, come on, Mr. Sykes. So anyway, I was out of hospital. I knew something was up. Seeked advice, managed to get a private scan at a clinic in Leeds. But again, with COVID, you've got to wait. You've got to do a test. So it was going on and on. Cutting a very long story short, I got a scan. The guy doing the scan said, look, I'm not a doctor, but you've got some serious damage. So I do these scans all day. He said, you need help. He said, you're going to need an operation soon. So I spoke to a surgeon who had been recommended, a Belgian guy who was the go-to for adductor injuries. I spoke to him. I emailed him the scan. He said, look, you've done this. This is going to be expensive. Go back to York Hospital, show them your scan, see what they can do. So I went back to York Hospital, showed them the scan. They admitted that I broke my pelvis and I'd ruptured the muscles that I mentioned, but told me that there was nobody in the NHS that was skilled enough to do the operation. So to go away and they would teach me how to walk again when the time was right. That's true. And saying it back to you is almost like not, but that is the truth. So long story short, by the time I went back to the Belgian surgeon, who was great, he came over, he had a clinic in London, which is obviously a long way to go, but he did it. He managed to book a clinic, Ramsey Healthcare private hospital in Skipton, just past Bradford, between Bradford and Harrogate. So I had to go see him, but again, every time I see him, you've got to isolate, you've got to do a COVID test, thing up your nose, down your throat. The first time I actually met him was after he'd agreed to do the surgery, was an hour before the operation. So I was in this lovely hospital, got dropped off. With it being COVID, they'd do the operation and then you'd be out straight away. As soon as you were okay, you'd be out straight away. Got a phone call from a surgeon on the NHS as I'm driving to the hospital saying, "You're from Leeds, mate. There's nobody in York. There's nobody in the NHS that can help me. There's a guy 30 miles down the road who was going to have a look at it." But I was like, "Look, I've paid X amount of money now. I'm having this operation done. You're too late." And he said to me, "Are you refusing help from the NHS?" No, it was like some sort of like conspiracy. And as I said, I got a dodgy phone call one day, which I was on speak, and other people heard it telling me that I live in York. I should be careful what I'm saying about York Hospital, because I did look into it. I did speak to people in the hospital. I did say, "Look, why can't you help me?" It was an expensive job, but got the surgery done. By the time the surgery it was going to take X amount of hours, 3 hours, I think. But when they got me into surgery, my adductor longus, which is obviously attached into your pelvis, had been off. This was 31 days after the injury. It had retracted so far, it curled up so far, it joined to my, what people know as a teardrop muscle in the bottom of your quad. So in surgery, they had to cut me open further, go down my leg, get my adductor and peel it back off, and then reattach it. With it being so far, they had to make me some ligaments to put it back in the bone. I remember waking up because the surgery went on so long, they had to knock me out again. And because it was a private hospital, I'd picked me 3 meals. I picked me nice 3 meals for after surgery, what I'd have. They knocked me back out again. I remember waking up and I was being, through no fault of my own, I was shouting for my little boy. So they knocked me out again. So by the time I woke up, it was the next day. These 3 meals were at the end of my bed, gone cold, and I couldn't even eat them. They helped me. I needed the toilet. It was degrading because I had two older ladies pick me up naked, take me to the toilet, hold my manhood, point it down the toilet, because that was the extent of the injury. I remember one of them saying once that they didn't mind because they normally only help old men. It made me feel a bit better. But then literally a few hours later, they made sure I was okay to walk on crutches with a frame and in a chair and move with a chair. And then they said, "Look, you can go." And that was the start of rehab from a broken pelvis. But the surgeon, I had to go back and see him every month for a consultation at his clinic in London, the Forties Clinic in London. Professor Ernest Childers, like a proper professor, you could tell he was a professor from a stereotypical look. But he said to me, he had in his office, he had, because it's an adductor injury, it's a big footballer injury. So I'm a Tottenham fan for my sins. He was the doctor for Tottenham. So the Spurs players he'd fixed, the players from he had all the signed shirts. And he said to me, when you get back on stage, because it's private, you can't ever train again. He said, when you get back on stage, he said, "I want a picture of you on the wall." So that was another motivation, 2020, to then carry on my journey when I could. But it was a big, long comeback, that months, years.
That must have been a big decision though, mate, because like you did it pushing how you felt that you needed to push to build the right amount of muscle, right? You needed to train at that sort of level.
Yeah.
There must have been an element of fear,
100%.
Getting back into the gym and to think that I'm going to push myself back to that level. That must have been quite a mindfuck, knowing that you've got to take yourself back there if you're going to do that competing.
So I had months. Once I was right, I had months. Because it was COVID, every consultation, every follow-up was all... but once I had a lot of rehab with Professor Childers people, but also some other private physio. When it was time to train again, mentally, but also physically, it was hard. My legs had wilted away, but I already had a semi-decent name for myself in bodybuilding, I think, at that point. And I managed to reach out to a few people, and Big Sassarati, I spoke to Big Sass, because he's got fucking huge legs, mate. But he never trains with legs within that rep range, muscle building rep range. It's all high volume. So even to this day, I have never ever leg pressed on a leg press under 30, 40 reps. So a lot of my clients will do leg press work, high reps, and they won't like it, but it's a different way of training. To build muscle, you need to go to failure and beyond, whether that's 5 reps or 30 reps. Failure in the muscle is failure. So I've always trained high volume now.
Yeah, I always trained high volume. And I know, like you say, when I sat here across Dorian, he's going, "No, you don't even have to argue with Dorian," right? So, but I listen to a lot of Milos, and he's a big giant, so it's a big volume guy. I just personally, I did a lot of volume because I enjoyed that way of training. Touch wood, I certainly have injuries to the extent that you've had. Them had little niggles and, tweaks here and there. But a lot of it, I think, was because I felt I didn't train overly heavy, but I did train a lot of volume. I trained a lot to failure, a lot of drop sets, stuff like that. So I did take the muscle to past where it could go, but I didn't do it with stupidly big weights.
I think my background before bodybuilding, I liked bench press, squat, deadlift. I liked the big lifts, and I enjoyed the big lifts. So again, we all train for our own reason. I think it made me feel good. Not so much look at me, I'm fucking strong, but lifting those heavy weights, 1-2 at max is kind of, and I think training like that kind of built a lot of my density and thickness. But it was when I was doing that I was told, why not look at bodybuilding? So that's why when push came to shove, I went down the bodybuilding route. But like, failure is failure. But legs for me now, I always start isolations, leg extensions. There is massive PTSD. There's PTSD when I'm using Smith bench. Just if anything goes, it's like, there is a little bit in your head that I'm almost envisioning something else snapping off, another injury. But I will never, it took me years to get back on leg press, but now I do use a leg press. It can be used for the right reasons, but it's all high volume. It's just, I would never stick that weight on anything ever again.
So in the lead up to the universe, what was the training split like? What does it look like? Are you a push pull legs guy? Are you a bro split guy? Are you a 2 sessions a day guy? What does it look like for you? Or what did it look like in the lead up to winning the universe?
So up to universe, obviously some people might know in 2023 I competed at the universe and I came second. So I took constructive feedback of what needed to be improved. And the training split was one that was devised mainly for me. So it wasn't a bro split, it wasn't PPL. It was, what does Eddie need to improve on? So obviously you've got to look at muscle recovery and how you can train it. You can't train bench press, chest, pec flies every day. But I devised a split with the help of my coach at the time that worked for me to build the physique that could go to the universe and take first place.
So what did that look like?
Kind of like a push, chest, shoulders, but focused around middle delt, top chest, triceps. Then it was kind of a pull with some lower body, some hamstrings, like a posterior session. Then I would rest, and then I was on an upper day to build body parts. So again, focusing middle delt, top chest, back, and then I would have a legs day on its own, and then I would do an arms day to bring arms up. But during the split, if I needed an extra rest day, I'd have a rest day. If I needed 2 rest days, I'd have a rest day. So it's kind of like building the physique that was going to help me push on. But again, being very wary around muscle recovery and not overtraining.
I love that. It's really bespoke to you
yes.
for what you need. And I think that's maybe is the difference between the guy in the gym and the elite athlete, that you've really tailored. You're not just going to go, I'm going to do push-pull legs because that's what Trained by JP is doing this week, right? So, or whatever it might be, whatever he's pushing this week. You actually look at identifying weak parts and bringing those up. And actually, like you say, that takes a little bit of, you've got to make it really bespoke for you, haven't you? You've got to make it really tailored for you and what you need to do. And that for me there is the difference between why some people are maybe not progressing how they want to in the gym.
Yeah, because people just do international chest day, back day. It works for me and my competitive clients now. I'll do something similar for them. And then, why are we doing this? But it's building individual physiques.
I went through a stage where, again, legs was a weak point for me, and 6'2", right? So we've got to fill these legs out. So I did a stage where I stopped training upper body for 6 months. I stopped training upper body for 6 months, and it would be you'll have been at the gym at the time, big at E-bar at the time, and it was, let's say for instance, Monday was quads, Tuesday was hamstrings, calves, Wednesday was rest, Thursday was quads. Friday was hamstrings, calves, weekend off. So it was literally 4 leg sessions a week, splitting down quads and hammies.
Did you split up like isolations and compounds?
I can't remember the detail. It was years ago, but the 2 hamstring calf sessions look different. The 2 quad sessions look different. I think, to be fair, they'll all had compounds in, and followed by some more isolations. That's normally how.
What is bodybuilding? Bodybuilding is individually having the best physique on stage. So there's no point having a shit top chest and training chest once a week or mid chest or just bench pressing. You've got to target the areas that as an individual you need to improve on to be competitive.
That was one of my things. Well, top chest, I liked there.
Apparently I do, yeah.
So my routine for years, it never actually changed. It was incline barbell press, incline dumbbell press, incline flies, followed by some crossovers. That was it. Everything, apart from the crossovers, everything else was incline. So I went top chest. And I managed to build a bit of a shelf over time. But, like you said, putting stuff in for the sake of it, maybe I should do decline this week. Maybe I should do some sort of pec fly this week. Why?
So that's something I would take from Dorian Yates when he might be 5 to 9 reps, bang, bang, bang. But one thing he did say in one of his books was, and it stuck, and in Blood and Guts, I think, if it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. Yeah. So I have a lot of clients, not a lot, I have a handful of clients I have over the years where they'll say, can I change my training plan?
Yeah, I want some variety, I'm bored.
Yeah, I'm bored. Well, yeah, we can try and mix it up, but you are employing me to build you a physique that's going to get you on stage and be competitive when this is what I think you should do. But the lifestyle clients get bored. If I have lifestyle clients, great, we can change the training split every week. But the ones who are trying to build up certain body parts, and
yeah, but I was going back to that again. My chest routine that stayed the same forever is like, how much more exciting would it have been if I'd have done pec deck instead of dumbbell flies? Not really that much more exciting. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
that's the mentality, though.
Yeah, that's what I needed.
Yeah,
and if this workout was the best option for me right now, and it's probably going to be the best option for me tomorrow or next week and the week after, I'm going to keep doing it until it's not the best option for me.
Between the two universe shows, 2023 and 25, 2023, I was beaten by a guy who could show his physique off better. He'd done 100 more shows than me. He'd actually been on the, he was Austrian, he'd been on the Olympia stage as a pro, but he'd rescinded his pro card to come back in the amateur ranks. Like, when I got my pro card, I'm going in the pro ranks because that's what I've worked for. I went straight into a pro show when I won my pro card. I had the option to stay in amateur and go win some more amateur shows and get some trophies. But, I've trained for the pro card for a reason. But this guy had rescinded his. But what I took from it was he showed himself off better. But in the days where, when I was watching you compete and then watching like the videos of people out to, they were like, I get told I'm a mass monster. I don't see it. We all have this sort of body dysmorphia when we're bodybuilding, but the likes of when you were competing on stage, everyone was a mass monster. Everyone was fucking massive. I think it's kind of changed. Bodybuilding's changed a little bit to, I don't know if that makes sense, where I basically in 2023, I got told by somebody who I looked up to that I had too much mass. I didn't need as much mass. So when I came back to be granite, leaner, harder and more defined. So I kind of, from 2023 to 25, everything in my training and diet and cardio and everything I was doing was set to come in less. I actually went on stage, 2023 on stage, 255 pounds. 2025 when I won Universe, 240. So from 255 to 243 pounds. So I was 12 pounds lighter, but looked bigger for being leaner and lighter, leaner and harder.
Well, when you've gone obviously from the second place in 23 so this one, like, was there a level of expectation going into this show? Was there like a different sort of pressure?
Yeah.
Because just coming off a very close second in 2023, you're going in as one of the favourites.
Yeah.
Was that different? Was that difficult to handle, or was that different for you to handle, or did you think like that? Because you're quite, even backstage. So backstage, I came over and seen Eddie and that lot, and I said to him straight away, I said, like, I don't think you got a problem today. I think this is going to be, you're going to take this, you're going to take the win. I could see some of the guys that were in there, and you were a little bit unsure. And I was like, this is so obvious. You're about to go out and win this show. Like, but having that level of confidence, did you actually see yourself as one of the favourites going into?
When you said that then, it just like right now, it just sent a tingle down my spine. And being downstairs in that crowded room, pumping up, watching everyone I'm going to go on stage against. When you said it then, it sent a tingle down my spine. Like, the difference with Universe in 25, there's a video of me that's been circulated. When I walked out, I had confidence. And a lot of bodybuilders, I will never be arrogant and cocky, but some bodybuilders are. I will always remain humble no matter where I go or how good I get at this. But I had confidence when I walked on stage. I think, there was you, there's other people downstairs, but there was a couple of people that said, look, you've probably got this. So yeah, I had confidence going on stage, but no, I don't see it. That's the question. No, I don't see it because the Australian guy who came third I was in my head about him. Yeah. I think you look at yourself from this view, and you're looking around and you're seeing people pump up and you're seeing the veins coming, the striations popping, and you don't see it in yourself.
Yeah. I remember backstage at the university when I won it. I knew all the way through. I was very confident. I thought, I'd won the world, I'd won the Britain. I knew I was on the road to doing it. But when I got backstage, and they took you backstage in Southport, there's no mirrors in the backstage bit. So I'm looking down at myself now, and I'm pumping up thinking, oh shit, well, what's gone on? I had to take myself off because they were like, right, you're about to go on. I had to take myself back out to the changing rooms to find a mirror and start doing some poses. And I was like, I know,
you've got it.
I'm all right. I just calm myself down because I was like, okay, this is what they're seeing. I know they're going to be worried. I knew I was in good shape for that. But yeah, your mind does play tricks with you. But like coming off the back of a second place, you must have felt like you were one of the favourites for going in there.
I knew I had a better physique, but in 2023 on the run-up to Universe, I won Mr. England. Yeah, in the run-up to 2025, I came second at Mr. England. So I just think, I was beaten by a very good bodybuilder who turned up, and like you said, it was close. He just had a lot more experience. So I think until you get out on stage, I don't know. I suffer from a lack of self-belief, definitely, 100%. And anyone in my circle will tell you, I don't believe in myself. Even no matter how far I've come, I don't believe in myself. I don't know why.
Not even now? Now you got that first place trophy?
It's still, I don't even know if it's sunk in yet.
You must back yourself to a degree though, mate, because someone that comes off the back of an injury like that and says, I'm going to still try and win the universe, there must be a level of self-belief that knows that, you're not one of these delusional guys that shows up at local shows that looks like a bag of shit, right? You must have some level of belief in yourself to think, actually, despite all this adversity, losing everything, a very near miss for the family, the other things that you've been, the sepsis, the injuries, to then think, actually, I'm still, no matter what's been thrown at me, I'm still going to push on and get there. There must be a level of belief in there somewhere.
Yeah, there is. It's in there. But the thing with Universe is that before I saw you downstairs, when I was getting my tan on, I remember one of the tanning ladies saying to me, are you all right? I said, yeah. But I'd started to sweat, and I was aware I was starting to sweat, but I was shivering cold. And within seconds, I'd just gone into like a natural hypo. I'd mistimed my meals. The day wasn't running to plan. I was trying to hold off my next meal until after the tan. Obviously, I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease in 23. So I'm really careful with food. In the days in my peak week, I really played with carbs, not to come in too flat, not to overspill, not to have a flare up in my tummy. So I'd had a hypo, and then literally as they're drying me off and re-tanning me, and I'm there, James Rose, who comes to all my shows with me, been a great support all through my career of bodybuilding, is literally holding me up, putting rice cakes in my mouth so I don't pass out. And then they called Class 1 backstage. So I think when I saw you, I think I was just a bit dazed with it all, thinking, I was actually panicking if I go on stage and have a hypo while I'm posing, because posing's hard. Posing is exerting a lot of energy, hitting those shots and battling out on stage. I think I was just a bit, but let's just get on stage and do what I can. But I didn't want to eat too much, because if I eat too much, I can have a flare of my Crohn's. So I think it's just all a bit surreal, I think, mate. I was at the Universe stage. I was being told I was going to go out and be crowned Mr. Universe, which is, somewhere in 23. When they count you down, top 6 they count down, and I'm not 6th, I'm not 5th. And then in Universe, I remember second, when it got to second, and they said representing, I think, please say Austria, the United Kingdom. It's like, but you smile and you put a clap and you walk to the front of the stage and take your trophy. I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, I think it was just all a little bit surreal that I was probably, I'd been told that I was going to do well. It's something I wanted. Going back to what we spoke about at the start of this, when when I was 14 and my dad took me into Olympia, there was a picture of Arnie on the wall. And I think it's when he won Universe, when Arnold Schwarzenegger won the Universe in late 60s. And I remember, after I'd been there a few days, work experience training and working, I remember saying to my dad, and my dad came and said, I'm going to win that. Just as like a joke. And then when I got into competitive bodybuilding, and I realised I was all right at it, I'd found out something I was all right. I was never really good at football. I played rugby before I got into bodybuilding. I was all right. I had a bit of a temper. So I lost my place in the team there, and I got into bodybuilding. I found something that I might be all right at. So then I came second at Universe. My dad was there at the Universe when I came second. And we had a bit of a moment when I came off. My mum and dad have supported me all my life, and you know my dad obviously very well from the days of the gyms. But he's always trained. He's never been into bodybuilding. He never wanted me to do what I've done. But he's always supported me. And at times when my mum's called it a bit extreme, my dad's always had my corner. So in 23, he was there at the Universe. In 25, unfortunately, my dad's suffering very badly from Parkinson's and now dementia. He was too poorly to travel to the Universe. So there was an element where I just wanted to show my dad that I'd been crowned Mr. Universe. So the first thing after it's such a long day, the day after, when I was back home, I took all the trophies around to my dad, and I had such a moment, which was, I don't know,
it's quite a full circle moment, isn't it? Because where it started with the picture in the gym, and
yeah, and then obviously my dad's, everyone, you all know my dad. Everyone in the industry in York knows my dad from doing what he was doing. He just is. A nice guy. Everyone calls him Posh Paul because he used to drive a Mercedes. Everyone calls him Posh Paul, but he'd chat to him. But yeah, so I took the trophies to him, and we had a lovely moment at a picture. And he told me he was proud of me. He wasn't there, but he was proud of me. And then it was quite mad because then that evening he had a stroke, and it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like he'd waited to see me win the Universe. I showed him. He sat there, and he because of his Parkinson's and how he is, he does not. He can't really understand how when he talks sometimes. And he sat there when I was going, and he called me back. So I'm so proud of you. So yeah, so there was a bit of a moment. Then when he had the stroke, it was almost like I don't know, like he'd waited to see me win Universe. But he's still going. So he's how strong my dad is. Yeah. He's had 2 strokes now, but. They can't medicate strokes because of his Parkinson's medication. Apparently, they interrupt each other. So it's just, I was happy to make him proud.
That's great, that for your dad, isn't it? A great moment for you as well. Do you know what I mean? So, but
like I'd rather he was there, but it wasn't going to be that.
Your family go through a lot with you, don't they?
Yeah.
And like you say, your dad will have gone through a lot. But I suppose, how do you find that balance between having to work, having your family and stuff, and actually being able to compete, because it is a very selfish sport, right? Yeah, you need a good network behind you, and you certainly need no distractions. And you need people who understand. For this last year's when I won the Universe, it's like there was no sleep. You don't sleep, do you? You're anxious. You're hungry. You're up in the night. You're hungry. You're drinking. I was on 8 litres of water a day. I'm literally going to the toilet. I log in it 12, 13 times a night. There's no sleep. My Aura Ring gets sleep scores. If anyone knows about an Aura Ring, my sleep scores are in the 30s. It's like, get up in the morning, you need to go back to bed. You need to rest. You need a good network. You need a good support team, but you need to have your head screwed on. You need to know why you're doing it, because there's loads of times in prep. Mate, I was out doing. I took some videos. And I thought, do I post them after my show or not? I'm out doing my cardio. It was all right to the start of prep because it was summer. Now I'm out doing cardio and doing my steps in the morning. It's fucking freezing cold. But I would be out listening to my headphones, doing 4,000 or 5,000 steps in the morning. I live in countryside just outside of York. It's beautiful. Watching the sun come up, and all of a sudden I'd just be crying, just an emotional mess, just crying because this is the toughest thing you've got to do, and people don't understand it. That's why I think bodybuilding, you're in the 1%, aren't you? It's something like you are in the 1%. So many people want to be a bodybuilder, but they can't do it. And I think that's it's a mentality thing that kind of keeps me going. I just like to better myself. It's me versus me. It's me versus me. You want to win. You want to win because when they don't call you out first, when you put everything, you put your life into it. It's like, it's hard, but I think it's just bettering myself. Yeah,
it's a mentality thing.
Okay, so away from bodybuilding, then what do you do? Like, are you fully that far into it that you don't really see, after work and family and bodybuilding, there's not a lot of time for anything else? Or do you have things that you do to unwind and escape a little bit?
The level I'm at now, I don't think I've ever had a proper off-season. And I think off-season is where the physiques are built. When you're in prep, you've got the structured routine, but you're only carving out what you've built in off-season. So I'm in off-season now, and I will compete in the pro leagues with NABA this year. I've got a few more years in me. Do I have masters over 50s, over 60s in me? Probably not. I've had too many injuries and health scares. I've got a few more years in me, so it's going as far as I go. But this off-season, it's like when you hit prep, you're so many weeks out from the show. But even now in January, I'm not going to be competing until October, November. I'm still so many weeks out from the show. So people think prep, boom, time to be nailed on. But for me, this off-season, I'm treating as prep all the way through. In that mindset, thinking like a pro. So I get up in the morning, no matter if it's snowing, raining, I will go out and do my steps, and then I will do my cardio. I keep cardioing all year round, off-season prep. Your heart's a muscle, we don't need to go into that. But I keep carrying. I can't function if I haven't. I had New Year's Day off, and it was like, shit, I end up carrying on my steps. Whether that's a positive thing or a bad thing, but I need the routine, and I'm more dialed in than ever. So this will be a good year. I want to put on if I can. I like to get big to build a physique. So the aim is probably. Heaviest I've been was 296 pounds. I'm 270 this morning. I'd like to sensibly, with clean food because of my IBD, I'd like to push to 300 pounds before I hit prep.
So there's no real room for anything outside of family training and
no. So like, I've had a number of. I suffer from inflammatory bowel disease. I got it in 2023. Thought it was food poisoning. Ended up in Hull Royal Hospital for just under 2 weeks, where they even discussed at some point taking my colon out with the level of that trauma I was going through my colon. There was people on that ward that had bags to go to the bathroom in. So it's how far can I push it? But food for me, it's got to be clean. I can't. There's certain things that trigger my inflammatory bowel disease. So gluten, wheat, pineapple, almond butter. Since going back to the hospital after this season of shows, I ate pineapple and almond butter all through prep. But I think because I ate so much pineapple and almond butter for fats and carbs that I've become intolerant to it. But the main things are like skins on potatoes and fruit skins that flare me up. But there's certain things I can't eat. So I can't sugary food. I can't eat sugary food. So to go and have to eat, I can't put calories in from Rice Krispie Squares or muffins. It's got to be clean food. So to push a clean 300 pounds in weight, 30 pounds from where I am now will be a push. But my mindset's on, mate. I want to go as far as I can go in the time I've got.
Yeah. So what is the sort of long-term plan with bodybuilding? Do you think that this is you've got certain goals you want to hit now, or can you see yourself being that guy that's still doing the over 50s, over 60s, and just living this life forever?
Well, as long as I continue to monitor, I think like when Darren finished bodybuilding, he went into a dark hole, didn't he? Because he said he had no purpose. Yeah. I'm not ever going to step on the Olympia stage. If I'd had the house fire and sepsis when I was 18, 19, and I started bodybuilding earlier, I'd probably think I could have had a decent run at this, but I'm never going to step on an Olympia stage. I'd like to go as far as I can go, whether that's an IFBB pro, whether that's winning the universe as a pro. I would like to go back to NABA Universe this year and win it as a pro. But obviously I stepped on the pro stage after taking my pro card, and I beat 2 pros already, so that was nice. It shows where I'm at, but I think that'll be hard. But I'd like to compete this year. I get my blood work done twice a year, so as long as I'm healthy. I always said I'd stop when I won Universe, but I just want to push myself a little bit further.
Where does the line get drawn though? Because you've already been through so many things that most people would have stopped at. Like what happens? What needs to happen for you to say enough's enough in bodybuilding, or did you just play it by ear and see how you feel?
I think right now where I am, play it by ear and see how I feel. When I said if I won Universe and became Mr. Universe, I would stop and concentrate on my coaching business and being a dad, family life. But it's addictive, it is. It's so addictive, and like I said, it's me versus me. I want to be the best I can be, and not leave a legacy behind, but I think there's more in me, because I think this is, like I said, this is the first off season where I've done off seasons, I've done all right, but I've never been dialed in, whether that's that professional status now. I'm just more focused than ever, so I want to see what I can do.
I think as well, you get wrapped, your identity becomes wrapped up in being a bodybuilder, doesn't it? you're like, you're Eddie the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You're Eddie the Mr. Universe champion. Do you know what I mean? Like, so to then take that away is quite a tough thing to do. It's really hard to step away from bodybuilding. You know, it really, really is. And, you know, I think because it's so structured, it's so disciplined, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
It's everything, isn't it? Like you say, I was just there, what else do you do for fun? Well, I train and I eat and I fucking spend a bit of time with family and work. But other than that, any spare time that's for you is dedicated towards bodybuilding, you know, and it's like, it's all encompassing. Whereas to just not have that in your life anymore is tough. And to do it with saying, oh, I'll just go back to being a gym bodybuilder. To not have that goal to chase, that real goal to chase. Like you've had the biggest mountains to chase, right? With climbing the Mr. Universe mountain. It's a big mountain and a big task to tackle. If you take them sort of goals away, does bodybuilding, do you live the life that you're living now with bodybuilding? Do you put that level of dedication in? If you knew that you hadn't got to, you know, step on stage with the pros at the end of this year, would you still get up on, you know, January the 2nd, January the 3rd, still do your cardio?
I think it'd be hard not to, Stu. I think it'd be hard because I kind of got this routine, and that's why with certain clients, when I'm programming work for clients to be where they want to be, I can't stand when they don't do it. I'm so routine to what makes me tick and works for me that I don't think right now I could step away from having that routine, which doesn't suit everybody. People think I'm mad, you know. But the people in my life who I'm closest to, and anyone who comes into my life now, needs to know this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm focused on. Selfishly, this is what I'm focused on. And like nights out, the people closest to me, no. In prep, I had one of my mates' birthdays. They all went to Ivy Asia in Leeds. What a lovely place to go. I ate my meal in the car before I had a Diet Coke. They understood. Yeah. The people closest to me understand. Yeah, mate, I'm there, and they're eating these steaks and yeah, it was hard, but I was there to support my friend being his birthday, and I'm a bodybuilder on prep, so that's just what it is.
I've done it. I've been to friends' weddings and pulled my Tupperware out from the table while I said, don't buy a meal for me, don't put me down for a meal. I'll just pull me Tupperware out.
Yeah, some people don't understand it. Some people think you're being selfish, arrogant,
Yeah, you're not supposed to have a normal person mentality though, mate, to do bodybuilding, are you?
No, and it's, yeah, you're right, people know me as Eddie Sykes, Mr. Universe bodybuilder. There's a few things that might affect things. Separate to everything else, obviously my inflammatory bowel disease might limit things in the future. I've had 3 skin cancers removed last year. One of them, the one that's just, I'd removed just after, I have to have 6 monthly checks. The one that was removed off my quad, the most recent, was more severe than the 2 I've had off my back. So if they keep coming back, then I'm going to have to limit stuff. They're BCC and SCCs, but if you leave them, basal cell carcinoma and SCC, but if you leave them, you don't spot them, they can turn into melanoma, which is serious, bad, game over, skin cancer. So there's a few personal battles I'm having at the moment that could say it's time. Anything can jump out and affect your health. So I think as long as my health's right and I'm keeping in charge of my blood markers, which I do twice a month, monitor my bloods, and every client I have, get your blood work done. People haven't done it. Do you know what? I read a fact today. In 2025, 35 bodybuilders died from heart-related issues. And I'm reading that before I'm about to train today, just having my pre-workout, scrolling social media. I thought, oh, wow, I don't want to be it. And the average age was 35. Yeah. But the common denominator was they didn't monitor their heart health and the bloods. So as long as I'm healthy enough to go, I've just got into the groove. I've just found something that I'm actually all right at. Yeah. And again, not being arrogant or cocky, I'm all right at this. So I want to challenge myself. And while I'm able-bodied, after all the shit I've gone through, I'd just like to keep challenging myself. And it's for me. It really is for me. It's not for fame. I was out the other week and some people came up to me and they come up to me with the phone. I said, are you Eddie Sykes? Can we have a picture? Mate, it was like fucking, my mate thought I'd set it up, but it was quite, it was nice, but cool, I'm not after any of that. I'm really not. I mean, it's great. And if people want pictures, come have a picture. I just want to push myself as far as I can go because I've gotten it too late, but I think I've found something that I can be successful. I've got a lot of support. You know, you've got me back. Some big bodybuilders that I've looked up to. I'm going up to Durham to train quads with Anth Bales. Yeah. Anth Bales is someone like I looked up to as one of the best British beef bodybuilders. You know, he's saying, "Oh, you've got a bright future next few years ahead of you." I've got a lot of support. Steve Johnson, Mr. Nabber, I saw him at one of the shows after I'd won the Universe, and he came up to me and called me a celebrity. This is Steve Johnson. I have watched since you were competing.
Yeah.
And thought, wow, what a physique he's got. And obviously he's in the Masters, but he came up and called me a celebrity. So I've got a lot of people backing me, but I think that's because I do stay quite humble. I am a family man. I am very business orientated. I am just me from York, Eddie Sykes from York. But I've got a lot of people backing me while my health's intact. I'd just like to push a little bit further and just see where I can go.
Good stuff, mate. So wrapping it up then, mate. Look, I always ask these two at the end. Biggest lesson that bodybuilding's taught you or training's taught you that you can use in everyday life?
100% you get out of something what you put into it, and that is massive with bodybuilding. It is with business. It is with family life. You get out of something what you're willing to put into it. If you're not going to put 100% in, then you're not going to get 100% back.
And last one then, mate. And it might be the answer might be the leg press, but if you go back to day one and do it all again, would you do anything differently, and what would that be?
I'd have started 10 years earlier.
Okay.
That's a good question. I'd have started 10 years earlier. Probably when you were still at your A-day, when I admired it, but I don't think I had the balls to do it. I don't think I had the grit and determination to do it. So if I could go back and do something differently, instead of competing in my mid-20s, I'd have competed as a teenager, and I think I'd have been on a totally different journey.
Yeah. Brilliant, mate. Well, look, you're at the peak of the amateur sport now. You know, you're moving into that pro level now. Genuinely, mate, one of the nicest guys that that have met in bodybuilding and obviously in the gyms and stuff like that. You are a very, very humble guy, and I wish you all the best, mate. And it'd be great to go see you go and take that pro universe or the IFBB Pro card or whatever it is you want to do in the sport, mate. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining us today, mate.
No, thank you for inviting me. I am just me. I'll always stay humble, and I'll keep pushing it. I think some of me as well. I just appreciate all the support I can get. I appreciate anyone who's willing to support me, whether that's sponsorship or just mates or family or like you backstage at Universe. Just, don't worry, you've got it going. Go and enjoy yourself. I think you said, go and have some fun. You've got it. I just appreciate any support I can get. I had some close friends, clients, and family who travelled with me this season, last season, and I appreciate everyone who supports me. Definitely.
Brilliant. All right, cheers, pal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. And if you need any more information on the Mansformation programme, just hit the link below.